What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another video. Today, for those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Pierre. I run a e-commerce consulting boutique agency, and I'm currently in Amsterdam, and I'm not going to talk to you anything related to work. Today, what I want to talk to you is about something that has been very influential to me, which is Benjamin Franklin's approach to setting and cultivating his virtues. There's a really great book he wrote called Virtues. It's like very thin, it's very small, and it was recommended to me by Ben Francis, who owns Gymshark. Not personally, through his YouTube channel, he recommended it, and then I purchased it and thought it was an amazing read. And so, in essence, Benjamin Franklin had these list of virtues, and I also read his autobiography, so I had a lot of context on his life, but he was a very extroverted person, and he would often, be in Paris and flaunting to the women his virtues. And what I mean by that is like showing them, the things that he lived his life and guided his life. And it's really cool. What I learned is that he's kind of one of the OGs in self-improvement with like practical approaches and tools. And so the way he would approach cultivating these virtues is, which I thought was really interesting. Number one is that he would focus on one at a time. And if he couldn't do it for 2 weeks straight, he would then start from scratch and would have to repeat 2 weeks. And it wasn't until he got 2 weeks exactly where he felt that he was embodying the virtue, would he then move on to the next. And I'm gonna get into all the virtues in a sec. For now, I just wanna explain how he would track it and how he would approach it. And so he also had this graph, and the thing that I thought was pretty peculiar was that this chart, you can imagine like a piece of paper that had like boxes. And so he would then have a pencil and he would put a dot on the days that he felt like he breached the virtue. He didn't embody what he was after while he was practicing this one particular virtue. He would then put the dot there, and that would show him that he messed up and would have to continue for 2 weeks until there was 2 weeks of clear rows, clear boxes with no dots, and then he would move on to the next virtue. So I thought that was really cool. The number one is that he's just focusing on one at a time. And I think, far too many times in my life, I've tried to improve too many things at once. And I think like the approach of doing one thing at a time is really powerful and really effective to create change. So I'm gonna read to you his virtues here that I wrote down because I thought they're really inspiring. I thought they're really cool. Temperance, eat not to dullness, drink not to alleviation. I really love this one because I've had a lot of points in my life where I was overeating or emotionally eating just because I was bored or because I was overworked or underslept. Underslept is a big one. If I'm underslept, I immediately sort of go to the kitchen just to kind of eat and avoid the work I'm doing. There's some interesting science behind that, which could be found in a book called Boundless by Ben Greenfield, but not enough about that on this note. So eat not to dullness, drink not to alleviation. Really great one. Silence. Speak not but what may benefit others or yourself. Avoid trivial conversation. I thought that was a really interesting one too. Like only be very conscious with your words and choose them wisely, and don't just have conversations that are not meaningful, from what I understand from that one. Order. Let all things have their places. Let each part of your business have its time. Ben Franklin had, he started as a paper boy and then got into writing, and then ended up developing a newspaper, and then ended up developing postal services, and was a serial entrepreneur and somewhat of a scientist in a lot of ways. Like all those peaks on people's homes that people used to have on their homes to attract electricity to avoid fires, or the lightning rather would hit the rod and then it would ground, and then it wouldn't strike homes and cause destruction. He invented that, and then he had a lot of other little inventions that were really interesting, but he had a lot of things going on is my point. And I think this was a really relevant point, which is let all your things have their places, let each part of your business have its time. The next one is resolution. So there's a total of 13. We're on number 4. Resolution. Resolve to perform what you ought, perform without fail what you resolve. I love this one. So if you say you're gonna do something, do it. Frugality. Make no expense but to do good for others or yourself, i.e. waste nothing. The next one is industry. Lose no time, be always employed in something useful, cut off all unnecessary actions. The next one is sincerity. Use no harmful deceit, think innocently and justly, and if you speak accordingly. Justice. Wrong none by doing injuries or omitting the benefits that are your duty. Moderation. Avoid extremes. Forbear resenting injuries so much as you think they deserve. Cleanliness. Tolerate no uncleanliness in body, clothes, or in habitation. Tranquility. Be not disturbed by trifles or accidents common or unavoidable. I love this one a lot. Chastity. Rarely use vanity but for health and or offspring. Never to dullness, weakness, or the injury of your own or another's peace or reputation. It's a funny one. He's a little bit of a ladies' man. So those are the 12 virtues, and then he ended up adding one more at the end, which is the 13th one, the last one. And this last one is humility. Imitate Jesus Christ and Socrates. And I love that one too. He said I believe the story was that he added that one because a friend of him told him that he wasn't humble, or he was it was along the lines of that. By and large, it was his friend mentioned something to him and his character, and then he decided to add that one to kind of help round off what he felt like he was missing. So that's it, 13 virtues. One thing I did is I revamped those in my own way, and I rewrote my own I read this book about a year ago, and have written my own sort of virtues, and have my own sort of process for following. And I have on my phone, the background is one of them, so I read it daily, and I don't track it right now the way he did, but I'm definitely going to start doing it this week, as I just kind of established some of the core virtues that I'm after, and that I want to cultivate. And so moving forward, I want to be tracking them daily, work on one for 2 weeks, and then move on to the next. So I hope this was helpful. I found this really inspiring when I read it, and I just want to make a video and share it with y'all. So I hope it was useful, and thanks so much for taking the time, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.